So the format was that it's you choose one of you sign up with two factions, and then you can play any deck from either of those two factions during any of the matches, right?
Yeah, I
Or
think
any of the
each
games.
round you like named two factions, and then in the three games you could play any deck. So you could like have three different Songhai decks, or switch between Songhai and Lionel, or depending on what you've done, right? Does that
Yeah.
make
So I
sense?
want yeah. So I wonder if they're going to just run back the same decks here, if they're going to try and adapt to what they saw previous game.
I think there's a lot of people who will just happily run the same deck over and over. Like
Hmm.
they like what they know and they know what they like.
It seems like Lesbian has a deck that's really light on early game. We saw Shroud as their two drop last game, and now it's this 1/1 crawler. So,
It's not very good, yeah.
but Spectral Blade is really very hard to deal with early game.
Except,
Yeah, yeah. This Rust Crawler buff is a really big deal.
I was wondering if it's gonna take the mana tile or try and protect the line there. But taking the mana tile does seem good, and the top one's blocked off by the Rust Crawler as well.
Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense because uh, if you let them walk onto a mana tile, they could Dark Sack Revenant, and that's not great.
Yeah, and back on your point about early game, I think a lot of people probably, as time goes on, might start adding a little bit more early game into their decks. I don't know if a lot of people finding that doing the network test, since like you do need to get off the blocks, so to speak. Having like 12 2-drops and then a fair number of 3 and 4s, like I found that quite nice.
I think people going to take a little bit of time just to sort of you know adapt to two shot and sort of get used to what the numbers are. This Pistol Juggernaut is really really good here.
Yeah, it's gonna trade nicely, but it's not gonna create any creep.
Yeah, well, I mean, you sort of Kieran had to have an answer, and then this answer is 4 mana 3/3, right?
Yeah,
And you're just letting the 3/5 stick around. So I mean, you know, at the very best, the Juggernaut can just trade into the 3/3 on board, and you know, it sucks to play a 4 drop and have it get eaten for free. And then what Lesbian is doing here is much better than that still. So
for sure. I think the Rustcore is now gonna trade into the 3-1, or now he's gonna do a combo trade.
because this way you get to clear a board at least. I think it's pretty interesting. Um, I mean, so here he's going to go Arclight Sentinel and Silverguard Knight,
Yeah,
but there's a world where you just play the Ironcliff Guardian and say, hey, you just played a
just
Night
play the
Sorrow.
Night Sorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do think I'd play the double threes, but yeah, that's definitely a consideration, right?
yeah. I think double three is good
You'd
as well.
you'd be really sad though if they had to.
Yeah, well, I mean here they could have positioned the Silverguard Knight in front of their general so that it's a little bit harder to Night Sorrow.
Oh yeah,
But
like you want to provoke, right?
so I wonder if this is bait. If they're trying to get out the Night Sorrow so that they can Ironclef afterwards.
Yeah, and then once they played two, like then you're really thinking, okay, now they probably don't have the third.
Yeah. And it's also sort of a time in the game kind of thing, where if you play an on curve Ironclef and it gets Night Sorrowed, and the board is more or less even, then that's really bad. But if it's later in the game, it's not on curve, and your opponent is playing a bunch of 2/1s and 3/1s, then
Yeah.
that's kind of different.
Nightsword does seem like really good in what it can kill, but if it's trading like with a 3 cost, usually it like is gonna die to a general hit, which nets you 3 damage. But isn't always that insane. Whereas if you're hitting something like an Ironcliff, then it's really, really good.
Yeah, like It's like game losing basically. Um, in actual patch 60, I did play Lionar to ladder, and for the first week, I was playing Ironcliff, and I just kept getting Ice Shroud, and so I switched to switched to Second Sun. Wow, DT is not a super common card. So this is you know, pretty big blowout.
Yeah, certainly doing the job here. I wonder if the whip's gonna kill the thingy since the creep gets produced here. That's 2 damage on the creep.
That's pretty cool. This is a close game because you know, the creep player is doing creepy things, but the they are quite low. So I don't know if they run Void Pulses or Mystic.
This Tempest was
Reach it.
missequenced.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does
Yeah,
seem like
that's
a-
kind of
like-
silly, right?
Yeah, this is the impulse piece. It does seem like quite a controlly build from the creep player, like with Dark Terminus and all this like slow stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that what's called Dark Spiral Elemental is actually quite slow. It seems like it might be quite fast, but like you don't generally have much creep until a little bit later in the game.
Yeah, it's a lot of actually like a late game inevitability card where, you know, after you've played a Nova, you know, your thing is just massive. So oh, that's so brutal. Wow.
Yeah, that's a triple dispel.
But it does seem like the creep player, despite having a very controlly build, doesn't have any healing. Um, so that's kind of rough.
Yeah, I think it's like quite easy to add in some neutral healing and have quite a strong benefit off that. Like Emerald Rejuvenate is just so good.
This is nice positioning though, where you are safe from just Tiger, right?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Um,
My bad. My bad.
Yeah, whilst looking at the chain to the bottom left. Well played to both players though. That was a pretty good series.
Yeah, that was a close game, and you know, could have gone either way.